totally get it. It's just
when
like
you say radical, I would say it's more radical is to chop off the head of the baby animal and put their corpse in my fridge for dinner than it is just to eat a jacket potato and beans. It draws people in to have a discussion because before I was vegan I was against animal abuse, but I didn't know what I was paying for, and this would have triggered me to go, I'm not an animal abuser, so I would have wanted to know like why. So yeah, thank you. Are you happy to be recorded?
Yeah, that's fine.
Great, are we on?
We are on.
Perfect. So thank you so much for sitting down. What was your name?
Abby.
Abby, nice to meet you. I'm Melissa. So my sign on the front says, if you're not vegan, you support animal abuse. Changed my mind. Yeah. Do you agree with that or disagree?
I disagree lightly.
Okay, disagree lightly. Okay, can you explain a bit more?
I think it's an issue of like passivity, like being passive and like consuming meat and like feeding into animal cruelty that way. Because like I eat meat, not every day, but like I eat it because of like iron levels and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I'm not like for animal abuse, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do know that I am passively kind of feeding into that like industry. You know?
Yeah, okay, so you're against animal abuse, but you know that you're paying into it, but you're thinking you need to for iron?
Yeah, I know there's supplements and stuff that you can take, but like it's like the easier way out, you know.
Okay.
It's a shame.
So you are currently against animal abuse. So do you know what goes on in these industries? Because veganism is about ethics. It just relates to your diet, but it's not specifically about your diet.
Yeah.
So do you know what happens in the animal agriculture industries?
Vaguely. Like, I've seen like the anonymous stuff where people have like the videos of like stuff that goes on in like the battery farm stuff, and it is really ugly.
Yeah, not just battery farms, free range, organic, all farms.
Excellent. These are
just words they put in front of something to make us, the consumer, feel better, because most people are compassionate and kind, really, and they don't want to hurt animals.
They wouldn't feed into it if they knew it was happening.
Exactly. So when you're told, oh no, it's humane, you go, okay, and when you
it's fine. They have room to roam. Okay.
Exactly, and like free range they're there to fool you. I got to the age of 26 years old before I realised that a cow produces milk because she is a mum. I just thought cows produce milk because that's what the propaganda told me. That's what the advertisement told me. Do you know much about the dairy industry?
I do know some horrible things, like when like mothers get separated from their children, like from birth.
Yeah.
And that's like the whole idea behind that. Like I've had a lot of discussions about that with my friends, and like that's something that I really don't stand for. So
you're against it?
I drink oat milk now, no cow milk.
Okay, or cheese?
Do you have a little bit of cheese?
Interested, yeah. It's easy to be like, I don't have that, but I do have that. So if you're against the dairy industry, because obviously they forcibly impregnate the females, she carries her baby for 9 months like a human would. When she gives birth to her baby, they take the baby away, like you said, the separation. If the baby is a male, they don't produce milk, so what do you think they do with the males?
They'll like fatten them up to kill them or something, right?
Yeah, so they'll either shoot them on day one, or they'll put them on a truck when they go to a slaughterhouse and hung upside down and the knife goes across their throat. Or they get sold, £2 calves get sold to the beef industry where they're fattened up, like you said, for 18 months and then go to a slaughterhouse, hung up again, knife across their throat. So knowing that, do you think any of that justifies the little bit of cheese here and there?
Of course not. No, of course not. It's difficult. Like I'm definitely like from a few years ago, I've definitely like eating a lot less meat, like not consuming like milk, stuff like that, less cheese. Just like since I've started like moved to uni, eating for myself and putting less meat in my body. So because you're against these industries, what would make you just stop consuming any animal products? Because by eating less, it doesn't make a difference to that one. Like say if you were the victim, if I said, oh, it's okay because I'm only going to kill you today and you can live, it doesn't matter to that individual if you've killed all their mothers. Do you understand like what I mean by that? Yeah, so what would make you just stop paying for it altogether? Probably just like more in your face meat alternatives. So like Aldi's and stuff like that, like if they had their own brand of like corn and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
Just like,
So convenience.
yeah.
So do you think convenience is a justification to be like, oh, I can't really find something today, so I'll pay for the dairy
It's
industry?
definitely not, but like there's just a lot of factors that go into it. Like, I'm not trying to like excuse it, but there's like money, accessibility, unfortunately convenience, and like the world that we live in, like TikTok, stuff like that, everyone just like wants stuff now. And like, I don't like that culture, but I still find it in the back of my head, you know, I'm like, you know, I'm hungry, well, I want like a thing of noodles now, and I'll just like get whatever, you know.
Does anything you just said though justify the killing?
No, of course not, no.
So like when you say convenience and things, that doesn't even come into my head when I'm vegan because I'm against the abuse and exploitation of animals. Like I can go to Greg's just there, I can go to Wagamama down there, everywhere usually does a vegan option, and if there's not, they usually have chips. So you can usually you can dodge paying into these industries really easily. Are you happy for me to show you some footage of what happens? It's standard practice.
I would, but I'm coming onto my period and I will start crying.
Maybe
my friends here visiting me.
Maybe that's not a bad thing though, because if you're paying for it, I think you have a right to know.
I know kind of what's happening. I'm just not comfortable with that today.
So if you're not comfortable with even seeing it, how then do you feel comfortable enough to pay for it? And you've got to remember, all these animals are all babies that are murdered for taste pleasure, right?
Yeah.
Because do you think you can live healthy and happy as a vegan? Do you think you?
Yeah. People do it, you know.
Yeah.
It's just a very like radical change in lifestyle. I'm getting there, you know, and like I'm aware, like I'm not just like people going vegan, like everyone's just like, everyone's being woke and stuff like that. I totally get it. It's just
when
like
you say radical, I would say it's more radical is to chop off the head of a baby animal and put their corpse in my fridge for dinner than it is just to eat a jacket potato and beans. So you say it's radical, but actually you're vegan in your heart. I can see you're compassionate on the inside, but at the moment you're being complicit in the murder of animals. And once you know better, you can do better. So I really urge you to watch the footage, because once you see it, you will never be able to turn your back away from the animals. So like in the egg industry, do you know what happens to the male chicks on day one?
No, I don't.
They get blended up alive. They all come from somewhere called a hatchery, where they sex the males and the females. The females go off to free-range battery hens, wherever they go for egg-laying hens. But the males, they're classed as a waste product. So they go onto a travelator, like you see in Tesco's, like a conveyor belt, and it drops them straight into a blender, an open blender. Or they get put into a bag and they're suffocated, all just for an egg. So when you say like convenience and things like that, just think of the animals, what they're going through. Because if we were in their position, would you accept your excuses?
Of course not.
No.
Thank you, honestly.
Thank you for sitting and talking. It's brave of you. I'm going to give you this. If you go on here, check out Challenge 22. It's a 22-day challenge where you get support to go vegan, and it's free. And any, like you said about your iron levels and stuff, they'll help you out with all your nutritional needs and things. But it also has on there a picture of a dog and a pig, and it says spot the difference, because there's no difference between a dog and a pig, right? So it's weird for me to see like chickens and things on the shelves, and it's as weird for you to see dogs on the shelf. Yeah. Because at one stage I used to see them as products. I'll be like, oh, chicken breast, I didn't think that chicken was 42-day-old baby. And the only reason these industries are here is because people like me, when I wasn't vegan, were paying for them. Slaughterhouses are only open because we pay for them to be there. So if we boycott them, then the animals won't go through all the suffering and abuse. But thank you so much for stopping and chatting. Have a great day, Nindita. That is what a lot of people tend to say. Like, they aren't willing to see the footage, but they're willing to pay for what they're against. And she was saying that she's about to come on her period and can't cope, but even with whatever circumstances are happening in your daily life, you should always never turn a blind eye to what you are paying for, because these animals are going into gas chambers right now. They're going into slaughterhouses and been hung upside down right now. And to say, oh, I'm coming on my period, so I don't want to look, is an injustice to them. And I really wish she did see it. I should have just said I'm going to show you instead of ask her, so I might do that on the next one. Yeah, on to the next one.